Hi, hello. Welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Sarah, and this is part 3 of my New Mexico road trip. So if you missed parts 1 and 2, you gotta get out of here. You gotta go watch those first. I did not film as much on the last half of my trip, so there isn't a ton of footage, or at least there isn't a ton that I think is worth sharing. So let's just go ahead and roll the intro. As you saw in part 2, I stayed at the Sunset Motel in Moriarty for the night. It's really nice. They have updated the motel a good bit. It's not completely run down or anything, and they didn't serve like a full breakfast, but they did give out bags that had pastries and like an orange and things like that. So they did what they could, and it was actually kind of a lifesaver in terms of having some extra snacks on the road that were really good. I don't know where they got those pastries, but they were fantastic. Right next to Sunset Motel, like directly behind it, there is a Whiting Brothers. These are little like service stations, I think, that are kind of sprinkled across Route 66. I don't know that any of them are open anymore. None of the ones that I saw were. And there's a couple that I took photos on this day. From Moriarty, I headed to Budville. Budville is one of those kind of iconic Route 66 stops. Pretty much every vlog, blog, write-up that I have seen has stopped to take photos here. A little history about Budville. It was started as a service station by a man named Bud. He really stretched the creative mind there to name it. But it started just as one thing, and then it became a full trading post with like a grocery and a service station and a whole bunch of like smaller buildings, and like a full motel also were on the site. Budville kind of has a dark history. If you know me, you know I love a good haunting story, and those typically start with a murder. So I end up being into more true crime than I would like to admit. And in Budville, there's no exception. Bud was working in the trading post with his wife one night. I think it was in the early 70s. It had been there for like 40 years or 30 years by that point. He'd been there a while, so Bud was kind of an old man. Some guy came in, shot Bud and a coworker. Bud was killed, and the guy stole like $400. 4 years later, the guy who had taken over running Budville was also shot and killed. So locals called it Bloodville for a while. And not only did the interstate kind of kill Budville, I think kind of the history along with it killed it too. welcome to Budville. It's kind of crazy seeing these places just so close to the interstate and then just no signs of life, really. There have been 3 or 4 cars that have also pulled in and stopped to take pictures of things. I am the only one who's gotten out of my vehicle to do so. But yeah, I've had these spots pinned for a while, and hopefully I got something decent. I do need to reload the Holga. I just wrapped up the last of this roll. I've tried to be really thoughtful, I think is the best way to put it, with my clicks, because film's expensive, for one. But for 2, I'm gonna have pretty much the exact same photos on my mirrorless, so it feels like these need to be reserved for extra special things. But today, we're doing quite a bit of Route 66. Today, depending on time, we're gonna try and make it to Arizona. It's 11 o'clock. I think it's a couple more hours. But I also am going through Grants, which has a bunch of signs that I have pinned, and going through Gallup, which I definitely have a lot of stuff pinned, but also it is a more metro area, I guess. Although Albuquerque was pretty easy to get through. What's my hair doing? And I feel kind of silly that I didn't just go into town and stop at stuff, but I was so nervous about it. Are we done yet? I think so. So I feel a little silly that I didn't, take pictures, which is the whole point of this trip, really. But it is what it is. Let me get some film out of the cooler. That's my 35. And let's lock and load this bad boy up. After Budville, I kind of just trucked along Route 66. It does go pretty closely aligned with the interstate. Definitely quieter run, and stopped at a couple of signs before getting into Grants, which, well, you'll see. I can't believe you'll see. So I'm in, God, where am I? Grants. And went to take pictures of the West Theater. And, oh my God, I can't even believe this just happened. Maps was like, turn here. And I turned, but there's a tree covering a, like, one-way only thing. And I was like, oh my God. But luckily, I was able to just like turn into the parking lot of where I was going really fast. But of course there was a cop. And he was like, are you good? So he pulled in behind me and he was just like, I just want to make sure you're okay, because you just went down the wrong way. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I could not see the sign. He's like, yeah, no, that tree covers it. So like, if you're listening to your maps, I get it. And I was like, oh my God.
Well, at least he knows. So, and he was like, so when you leave, just go like this way. And I was like, okay. So I can't believe that just happened.
After my run-in with the law, so ridiculous, I kept trucking. I went on to make it to Arizona, which was going to be the farthest west. That's the direction I was driving. It was the farthest west that I was going on this trip. I was going to get to Pancake House and I was going to turn around. And here's how that looked.
Made it to Arizona at Pancake House currently. And it's kind of crazy to see it in person. The interstate is busy. It is a holiday weekend and I am not loving it. But yeah, that's fine. We made it. But yeah, let's get out and take some photos.
Bluewater Lake State Park was where I ended up camping for the night. There was a weird situation when I got there. I had booked a campsite mostly to save money. I figured camping in my car was going to be a way to not have to get another motel. And it was only $12. It's a great state park. It's beautiful out there. And yeah, pulling in, there was a ranger at the gate and I said I'd already booked my spot and he was like, okay, you don't need to fill any of this out, just go to your reserved location. And I got to my campsite and it had the sign up as like occupied, but there were people parked there and there was room enough for me to pull in, but I was a little confused because the lake was totally open, so if you were just there for the day you could just go down to the lake. And I'm sure there were other like spots, but I don't know. There was just a random car parked there where I didn't see anyone. And then like an entire family had just gotten there and were unloading their like supper on the bench and stuff that was at the campsite. So I was texting my friend Nikki and was just like, I don't know how long they plan to be here. It would have been one thing if I needed to like set up a tent and everything and they were in the space, but I didn't. So I was just like, it's fine as long as they, you know, leave. And then I realized that the car next to me had like a sticker in the thing, which you got when you came in and like registered. So I was a little concerned that that was going to say that it was overnight, but I looked and it said it was just for day. And then the family left their truck there and went to the lake and were like fishing. So I hopped out and I looked and there said day 2. So I was like, all right. Either way, like both of them are supposed to be gone by 9 p.m. And both of them were gone long before that. But I was just like, this says occupied. It's my space. It's fine. I just was a little concerned at first when I got there and was like, am I in the right spot? But I definitely was, and it ended up being totally fine.
I am in Bev. Decided to get settled for the night before it got dark, mostly because I didn't want to have to use the pit toilet in the dark. So got situated in the back and ready to just chill for the night. It's a little warm in here right now, but it's gonna get cold tonight, so I don't want to leave the windows down any further than they are currently because I don't want to have to get up and get out, raise the windows, all that fun stuff. But yeah, we are settled. I think I might have mentioned this, but I did forget pillows, but I've got stuff I can, you know, cuddle up with. So yeah, car camping. Night 1 of however many in the future. Also, sunset is not terrible. It's not great. Don't get me wrong, but not too shabby. Shoes are stinky. Not a bad way to end the night. Morning.
After my night of camping, I didn't feel great, if I'm being honest. But I thought it was just groggy morning, whatever. And then getting back on the road, which I thought I took video of the drive out of the park because it was beautiful. I can't understate how, like, it's just nice. It was kind of a climb back up, and then once you were on top of this ridge, you could just see across so much of New Mexico, and yeah, it was just really pretty. And I thought I took video of the whole thing, and I didn't. So my apologies. That's a my bad. But it was really nice to see. But yeah, getting on the road, I did not feel super great. And then upon stopping at my first stop to take photos, I realized that I had lost the one battery that still had power to it. Like, it was still fully charged and I could not find it. So my mirrorless was dead. Yeah, not a great way to start the day for a photography trip, gotta say.
So yesterday I burned through my camera battery that I was using, and then I switched out for a new one, and it died really fast for no reason. And I have a third and I can't find it. So now my mirrorless is completely dead because I wasn't able to charge last night because I was camping and I didn't bring the thingamajig. So that's kind of a bummer for the day. I don't know where that third battery went, which is annoying, but not ideal for a road trip where I'm supposed to be taking photos. But I did get some Holga shots at Alan's garage, and right now I'm at the Bluewater motel sign, as you can see here, which would be a sick photo, but just take it on my phone, I guess. So I did a dig around in the back because some stuff did fall out of my bag last night. I was trying to take some night photography, and then that's when my camera first was like, change your battery pack, and I was like, I'm not doing this in the dark. And then I forgot about it this morning. But I just looked and I can't find that third battery. It's really annoying. I do wonder if this would charge, if it's enough wattage to charge your battery. Let's see what we can find out. If not, today wasn't super photo heavy, but I mean, still. And that's a different plug-in. So, AV. That's really annoying. Is the third one just loose in here? No. No, it's not. Okay. Well, it's worth a look, I guess. Also need to figure out, it's like 3.5 hours, I want to say, to the next stop, and it's only 10 in the morning, so I doubt that I would be able to check in that early. It would be kind of nice though. I do feel gross. Just a little sweaty yesterday, and then not being able to shower this morning was, I could have, I just didn't bring stuff to shower at the park, but they did have showers available in case you were thinking about camping there. It really is a nice spot. There was someone shooting off like huge fireworks and I could hear them, but I couldn't see them, which made me sad last night. But then I also heard police sirens, so I think someone got arrested, or at least got a warning, you know what I mean. All right, well, let's see if this works. Maybe. I have 2 USBs, right? Just one USB. Just one USB. Oh, there's 2 USBs. What the heck? Okay. Let's bring this baby on. We're charging. Fantastic. Okay. How many times does it take the average person to plug in a USB? I've flipped this thing like 3 times. Which way is the correct way? There we go. Where are we? We are just northwest of Grants, which is where I went the wrong way on a one-way yesterday. Oops. So we could go into Santa Fe for lunch, perhaps? And then maybe by then my batteries will be charged. we'll see.
After attempting to stop and I think taking some film shots, we'll see. I decided that I just kind of wanted to get going, and then by the time it got to the point where I would go to Santa Fe versus just heading straight to Las Vegas, I was so over it. I was nauseous. I felt gross. I don't know. Yeah, it was not a great day. So I just drove straight through.
I've reached the exhausted portion of the trip. There were a couple of things that I wanted to do, like activity-wise in Santa Fe, but it is Memorial Day, so they are closed, which I had anticipated, and I checked a few of them, but then I checked this morning and like everything was closed. And then by the time I got to Santa Fe, I was just like, I'm so ready to not do this anymore. So I just powered through and made it to Las Vegas. And then I pulled in and I parked and I called to just check what check-in time was. And she was like, let me see if your room's ready. We could probably get you in early. And I was like, fantastic. And so I'm in. And this place is very cool. Definitely haunted. I 1000% believe I'm going to see a ghost tonight. But yeah, I'm going to cool down. It's really hot out. There are some clouds for the first time, like all weekend. But like, despite applying all of the sunscreen multiple times, I'm burnt and tired, and especially like camping last night, I just feel kind of gross. So I might just take a shower and chill, and then when things start to cool off, go out and take some photos. I say that, but my shoes are off, which means no guarantees that I'm ever getting up again. It's only 1 o'clock, so I'll have to do like dinner or something. Hopefully there's something open. There are restaurants here, but she was like, I'm sorry, they're closed because it's a holiday weekend. But yeah, maybe walk around the hotel a little bit later, take some photos. It's a really cool building. It's definitely been in some movies, and I can't remember which one's off the top of my head right now. No Country for Old Men, is that a movie? I think that's the title. It definitely was filmed, like parts of it were here, and then just some other old like western-y things. But yeah, it's pretty sick. But I'm gonna take a breather, cool down, and chill out. I can't believe I've driven as far as I hit 1,000 miles like early this morning for this trip alone. And that's crazy. I can't believe it.
And that's it. I ended up crashing and just getting some well-needed rest. I should say, I think it's clear that I was just unwell by the time I got to Las Vegas. I also discovered that I was allergic to the sunblock that I was using on my lips. So that, I think, was also throwing me off. Like, my whole face just felt off. Yeah, it was a weird time. But yeah, there's just one more day left, and then I will include the film photos in the next video. I do have the first roll of scans back. It was a separate order, so anyway, I have some. I'll sneak peek. But yeah, if you want to see more, there is just one more video. And then I have to figure out where to go on my next adventure. So if you've got some suggestions that are near Colorado, let me know. Driving is scary, but I'm doing it. So feel free to just let me know. I've rambled enough. Okay.